Welcome to the Whiskey Explorer. Thanks so much for tuning in for another episode, guys. And if this is your first time on the channel, if you could just do us a quick favor there, hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, turn on the notification bell so that you know when we are coming out with new videos. And today we are doing a very interesting product from New Riff. We have New Riff's 6-year Malted Rye. All right, guys, so this one here, for a little while there, it wasn't actually available in our market. So never kind of saw any New Riff on the shelf here in BC, and sort of really wanted to try out the distillery. And I know that Alberta did get some in, and so they got, the single barrel bourbon and single barrel ryes. So this one is unique in that it is actually made with 100% malted rye. So that is pretty cool on its own. And then it's also got this 6-year age statement. So that's great. New Riff is a relatively newish distillery. So it's great to see them actually releasing some expressions with an age statement. 6 years for rye is great. So we'll have to dive into this one and see what it's all about. So this is actually also a bottled in bond product. So that means that we've got it at 50% ABV or 100 proof. And on the back here, it says aged at least 6 years. So that's actually really cool because it actually might contain some whiskeys that are even older than that. All right, so yes, price point on this. So in the States, I think this goes for probably about $45 or so US. Here in Canada, it actually did show up at craft cellars in Alberta, and I think it was somewhere around, I want to say around the kind of $100 mark, somewhere in there. It was a little pricey for sure. But let's jump into this and give the whiskey a try. So looking at the color in the glass there, guys, it actually has this really nice kind of, there's more of like a red tinge to this kind of copper hue here. So it's kind of like got a really kind of rich looking, almost like a mahogany color to it, which is really cool. So 6 years old, 50% ABV, and it's bottled in bond. So we know that that's actually in a government supervised warehouse to do the aging process. So let's go in here and dive in for a nose. On the nose. Cheers. Wow. It's just like a really sweet candy on the nose. It's like sweet cherry candy. I don't know if you guys will know about these, but like those Camino cherries, or Camino candies, I think they're called, and they have like the swirls with the white and the red in there. So kind of reminds me of one of those candies. It's just got a really nice kind of confectionery, sugary cherry note to the nose, as well as vanilla. Yeah, and those two are really dominant. So really sweet cherry note, really nice vanilla mixed in with some butterscotch caramel notes on the nose. Just a super inviting nose, guys. So let's get in for a sip on this on the palate. Cheers. Really, really liking the flavor on this one. It just has a really nice, soft, sweet arrival on the palate. Lots of sweet cherry. You do get a little bit of that rye note in there, but it's a really sweet rye. It's incredibly sweet. Really nice kind of confectionery cherry and vanilla note in there. Very sweet overall. There is a little bit of a Kentucky hug going down, which is nice. And it's also a little bit mouth coating as well. So you do get a good kind of flavor experience there from that. I think the only kind of part of this rye that can pick apart is that the finish is a little short on this. Kind of falls off a bit of a cliff there. You're left with a little bit of a kind of lingering barrel char note, but it kind of shifts focus to a little bit of an astringent note as well on the finish. So not my favorite finish in the world, but overall a really good sipping experience. So let's go in for a second sip here, guys. Cheers. Wow. So that sweet cherry note was really popping at the beginning of the palate there. Took a bit of a bigger sip there. Kind of let it sit around and play on my palate there. Really nice, sweet, bold cherry note right at the very beginning of the palate. Cherry mixed in with vanilla, a little bit of caramel and butterscotch. A little bit of that Kentucky hug again going down, which is nice to have. A little mouth coating. And just those sweet flavors from that vanilla and cherry combo, that kind of is what rides through the middle palate. And then the finish is a little short, and there's a bit of a transition there to a bit of kind of drying astringency on the very tail end of that palate and the finish there. So again, not my favorite finish in the world, but overall, it's definitely a rye that I would highly recommend trying. So that's the 6-year malted rye. So it's using 100% malted rye grain in the mash bill. Really also a unique flavor experience, because most ryes that you're going to come across aren't going to be 100% malted rye. So definitely an interesting flavor experience there. Can definitely recommend this one, guys. If you have a chance, go out and try the new Riff 6-year malted rye. All right, guys, thanks so much for joining me for this review. If you haven't done so already, if you could please click that subscribe button, hit the like button, turn on the bell notifications so you know when we're dropping new reviews, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Until next time, may your sails be full and your drams be fuller. Cheers.